Chapt23, Catastrophe. The shriek had come from the kitchen. Cat gasped and gripped my arm hard. Then she ran from the room and pounded downstairs. I followed her as fast as I could. I wondered whether someone had been murdered. It sounded like the kind of scream you get in an old-fashioned TV detective stories, when the maid goes in with a tray and finds a dead body and drops the tray and makes an ear-piercing noise. An image of Aunt Gloria finding Salem's dead body in the cellar went through my head, and a bad feeling went up my esophagus. Cat stopped in the kitchen doorway. I peered over her shoulder to see what had happened beyond. Mum, Aunt Gloria and Rashid were standing at the table staring at Aunt Gloria's mobile phone. "What happened?" Cat said. Nobody replied. It was as if we'd come up from a game of statues. Cat walked over to the table and reached over to pick up the mobile. "Don't touch it!" Aunt Gloria said. Cat's hand paused. "Why not?" Mum pushed Cat's hand away. "Just stay out of this, Cat. Can't you see Glow's upset?" Rashid's hands went up, palm outwards. Come, let's sit down. Calm down," he said. "Let's get to the bottom of this." Everybody obeyed except me. There were only 4 chairs. I stood by Mum's shoulder. "Gloria," Rashid soothed. He took her hand and stroked it like you would a cat. "Tell us what happened." Aunt Gloria swallowed. "I've been carrying my mobile with me everywhere, never losing sight of it. It's been by my pillow, in my pocket, in my hand, all the time, just in case Salem should call. Then, just now..." She wiped a tear off her cheek. "For 2 minutes I put it here on the table while I went into the living room to call the airline from the landline. I had to call the airline, you see, because by rights..." She shook her head and her lips squashed up together. "By rights, today we should be flying across the Atlantic, Salem and I. And I rang them to explain why we won't make the flight, and the lady on the phone was very kind." Her lips went one way, her nose another, and her eyes disappeared altogether. She was crying. I could see why someone was being kind. Should make Aunt Gloria cry, but it did. She said she'd hold our reservations. That's if Salem is found. They'll put us on the first available flight to New York. So I said thank you, and I hung up. I put the phone back, and I came back in here, and it was ringing. The mobile, it was on the table, ringing, and nobody was in here, nobody to hear it. I picked it up, answered it, and it rang off. "It could have been anyone," Rashid said. Aunt Gloria shook her head. She picked up the phone and showed us its display panel. The name of the last caller was displayed. Salem. "He tried to call me." I called back, of course, right away, but nobody picked up. It was switched off again. "Nobody. Oh, Salem, you called me and I wasn't there for you." The last 6 words came out in a wail that grew louder until the "you" then got stuck on the "ooh" sound. "Ooh," she cried, like a baby that dropped its bottle. "Viking North, that's it. South, that's it for cyclonic 6 to the gale 8, I chanted in my head. Decreasing 5, rough or very rough." "Oh, Glow," Mum said. She took her by the elbow and then went to stand out in the back garden, and I saw Mum handing Aunt Gloria her packet of cigarettes and her lighter, which was very strange because my mother is a nurse, and nurses know all about how smoking is hazardous for human health. Aunt Gloria would have been better off with a cup of tea because in my book of first aid it says a hot drink is good for you if you've had shock. Rashid sat slumped at the kitchen table. He put his head in his hands and muttered something about calling the press. Then he went out into the garden. Cat looked at me. "Ted," she said, "this is getting serious." "Serious," I agreed. She got up from the table and walked around it 3 times until I felt dizzy. But I could see she was thinking. When Cat thinks, she moves about a lot. And when I think, apart from putting my head to one side, I'm still. I don't like the way Cat was thinking. Her ponytail swung from one side to the other, her lips were pressed up tight against her mouth, and her mouth was moving with no sound, but no sound came out. Suddenly she went into the living room. I followed her. She picked up the A to Z phone book from the shelf and flicked through it with her eyebrows pulled together. Then she turned a page over and nodded. She tore out the page and folded it. "Ted," she said, "I'm going out this instant." "But..." "You're going to have to lie again. Say I've gone round to Tiff's." Tiffany is Cat's best friend at school. "But you're not going to Tiffany's, are you?" I said. "No," she said. Stop twitching your head like that. All you have to say, if Mum asks, is that I've popped over to Tiff's. Got it?" "Popped over to Tiff's. For the afternoon. For the afternoon. Don't drone it like that. Say it like you mean it, Ted." "But I don't mean it, Cat. It's not true." Cat slapped her forehead. "How did I end up with a brother like you? How? You're a hopeless case." "Where are you really going, Cat? If I tell you, you'll tell the others." "I won't, Cat. Not if they don't ask me." They will ask you. There's no time to lose. I've got to check this thing out for myself. No, I said. No, Cat. She was in the hall putting on her jacket. No, I said. She ran upstairs to fetch her leopard skin backpack. I followed her. She stuffed the blown-up photo of the strange man's blurry face into it, along with the phone book page, and ran downstairs. No, I said, following. My hand shook itself. No, Cat. I'll be back as soon as I can. Cat! She opened the front door. Cat! I grabbed the sleeve of her jacket. Take me with you, please. Ted, she said. She tried to slap my hand away. I grunted. I held on. Let go, Ted! She shoved me hard back through the front door. I'm sorry, Ted. You're really good at thinking, but you're no good at doing. If you come with me, you won't be any use. She slammed the door in my face. I saw her silhouette go down the path. I slumped to the hall carpet, and a feeling like molten magma churned in my belly. My foot banged up against the skirting board. My hand shook itself out, and my brain went into a whirling vortex of bad feelings. Catastrophe, cataclysm, catalogue of disasters. Hurricane Katrina, mean, mad, mean, cat. Chapt24. Bingo. I went upstairs before Mum and the others found me. I didn't want to have to explain anything. I didn't want to have to tell the Tiffany lie. But first I fetched the phone book. I wanted to find out which page Cat had torn out. You would think that would be easy, but it wasn't. The Business and Services book for London has 989 pages. The pages are floppy and thin. When one page is missing, it doesn't automatically flap or open onto that page. You have to search page by page until you see a break in the numbering. I started at the beginning with businesses that are called things with number beginnings, like 00 Finance. By page 6, you were at the A's. By page 75, you were on the B's. By Eye of the Needle Software Solutions, my own eyes were like needles and my fingers were black. The pages rubbed against my finger pads like cotton wool as I turned them. Sweat trickled down my neck. The cool breeze of the morning had gone. The temperature was climbing. Downstairs I heard the police arrive. I started on the F's. By family to fashion I was beginning to wonder about going the other way, starting on the Z's and working backwards. But I'd seen Cat hunting through the book and I had the impression that she was looking nearer the start. Then I remembered about mirrors. I picked up the book and rifled through it the way Cat had done, but in the front of the mirror on my wardrobe. Mirror image, the other way round, back to front, depending on how you look at it. I remembered Cat staring at me as if I'd asked her about why letters in photos appear the right way round and not back to front. Then I dropped the phone book. Ont. Front. My favourite weather word. Why hadn't I thought of it sooner? I skipped forward through fashion, felt, Fisher, flowers, fortune. Sure enough, page 333, 334 was missing, as were all entries between frocks galore and futon futura. The rest was easy. Ontle Ecor, frontline security. I said it out loud, what Dad says whenever he finishes a weekend crossword. Bingo.